All right. So today we are going to see a little bit in depth about the variables, how we are going to use it, and how we are going to work on those things. These are all the things which we have discussed. Constructors, we have seen parameterized constructor as like C++. So this is what I'm talking about, instance variable hiding, right? See, in any programming language, not only in Java, in any programming language, it's very like not difficult. I won't say like illegal, but the term used is illegal, but it's very difficult to declare two local variables with the same name inside the same or enclosing scope, right? Inside the same class. So I cannot have same variables, I mean, same kind of variable, same name variable inside the class. So what to do that time? See, I want the same variable multiple times. Then what to do that? So for that, what you can do is you can store the variable, local variable with the same name as instance variable. So that means the local variable is going to hide the instance variable. Say for example, in the last class we have seen for the box, there are four variables, width, height, and three variables, width, height, and depth, right? Depth. So when we use this inside the box class, so if you want to make use of them, so what you can do is you can just refer them. Instance variables you can refer, like, see, you cannot use again same width, height, depth names again in the declaration. So let me just show you what will happen. Here is our Pisa. Still anybody is facing problem? No. I think Madhur Shri is having some issue. I don't know what is the issue she's facing. Maybe internet. Right. All right. Say for example, if I want to define two variables. So let me define two variables here. Say I'll say like int a equals to 10. Again, I want int a equals to 20. Int a equals to 20. Right? So when I use like this, and then when I run the program, so what is the error it is telling? Variable a is already defined in the method. So this is what I am talking about. So when you want to have the when you want to have two variables with the same name within the same scope, then we are going to get the error. So how to avoid this? See, there might be some cases in the real time where you want to have the variables with the same name. So then how to avoid this? How to get it? So for that we are going to use instance variable hiding. Instance variable hiding. So how we are going to do this process is we are going to use this keyword. This keyword. So what this will do? It will directly refer to that particular object where it belongs to. Where it belongs to. So see, practically if you think, it's not possible to have same variable, sorry, multiple variables with the same name. It is not at all possible. Not only in Java, in any programming language, it is not at all possible. But what you can do here is you can just refer the variable. So how we are going to refer the variable? So you can see here. Now what I'm going to do here is, in order to access this width, height, and depth, which are the local variables of a class called box, then what we need to do, we're going to use the this keyword, which is going to have a reference, right? So but in general, in practical, in real time, we are not going to use any kind of same names for the multiple variables, because it is going to create a lot of confusion. It's going to create a lot of confusion. Not only here, if you just take an example which I have shown, very simple example, here itself we are going to get so much of confusion. Then what we need to do? What we need to do? So we need to use a concept of instance variable hiding. So how we are going to instance variable hiding? So we are going to just calculate, take the reference of that variable. Like say for example, if I take A, I can take ampersand A as some other variable, that's it. But I cannot take the, no, I cannot do the, I cannot use the same name for the multiple variables. So what instance, a variable instance hiding will say is, instance variable hiding will say is, so if you could be able to solve the problem of having the same name for the multiple variables, you just use the reference. How to use the reference? Using the this keyword. Using the this keyword. See, actual variable is width, but again I'm using width with the help of this keyword. Now what is going to happen? So whatever value is there for width will be stored in this reference. So what is the reference address for this variable? We don't know. You don't worry about it. You don't worry about the reference variable, reference address. You are not going to worry about that, because let the compiler decide whether to take this address, whether to take some other address. Your work is use this keyword and then start working with the instance variable hiding. But in real time, in your projects or in your once you become software engineer, so we'll never and ever use it. Including this variable we don't use. If we want to use the reference variable, we'll go for the interfaces. We'll study that interfaces in the coming classes. Next module, right? So that is what instance variable hiding will says. Now we'll see the garbage collection. See, instance variable hiding is 3 or 4 marks question. What is that? Why we use this keyword? Now, what is garbage collection? Can any one of you tell me what is garbage collection? Any idea? What is garbage collection? Or let me put like this. See, you have defined a variable. Let us assume you have defined a variable in your C or C++. You have defined a variable in C or C++. So once you use that variable, so the moment you define a variable, what is going to happen? Compiler is going to allocate some space. And who is going to free that space? This compiler is going to take care in your C. Its compiler is going to take care, or who will do that? I don't know, where is this Microsoft board or something, right? Still someone is trying to join. Mohammed Baik. All right, no problem. Don't waste the time on this. Later I'll see. So let me just open one Word file just to show you. All right, so my question is, if you declare a variable int a, so once the memory is allocated, who is going to free that memory at the end? So memory or space which is unused can be automatically removed. Okay, so it is in, you're talking about C or C++, Tina? So what Tina is telling is the moment the memory is not used or unused can be automatically removed. Right. So my question is very simple to all of you. Let me make you understand first so that I can get the answers, multiple answers. Right. So I'm writing a C program. I'm defining int a. I'm assigning some value to a. Right. I'm assigning some value to a equals to 10. I'm taking int b. Right. I'm taking sum equals to sum plus a. Print some value. Now, if you see in this example, I never used a variable called b. I have allocated it, but I have never used it. See, the moment you allocate you initialize the variable, what compiler will do? Compiler will allocate some space for it. Compiler will allocate some memory for it. So now I am not using B. Now, how to remove the space for this? But compiler will be under assumption that, okay, B is going to be used in future. B is going to be used in future. So that's why let me allocate some memory for that. Right. So who is going to free that? As Ashish mentioned correctly in the chat box, see, in C programming, we need to use the memory free statements. You might have studied malloc, calloc, dalloc, right? So in C++ also, we need to free the space. We need to use the malloc function, calloc function, dalloc function. So manually you are going to do that process. So because of which, if you are not doing it manually, see, you may ask question, sir, we are using so many variables in our program. We never use the freeing the space. We never deallocated the space. So you mean to say we are going to waste the space? Yes, you are going to waste the space because you never used it. Right? See, for example, the same example, I used A, but after this program, if I don't want A, if I'm continuing with some other code, some other lines of code, what is going to happen? Till the A holds some space, B holds some space until you free the space. Until you free the space. That means automatic memory allocation and deallocation process is not possible. Automatic memory allocation and deallocation is not possible in C and C++. Whereas coming to Java, we are going to use the concept called garbage collection, which is going to automatically deallocate the space for the variables which are not used in the program and the further variables which are not used for the long time, Say for example, if I defined a variable called B, but I have not used it, so automatically compiler will treat that it is not required and it will deallocate the space for that. So this process of doing the automatic deallocation of space in Java is called as garbage collection. See, one thing you need to understand. In Java, what we are using? We are using new keyword or new operator to create the variables, to create the objects. See, the moment they are used, if they want to destroy or if they want to release the memory what they used for the later allocation. Who is going to do that? In C and C++, manually we need to use delete operator, that is your dealloc, realloc, all those functions. But Java will take different approach called garbage collection. So automatically it is going to deallocate the space. Again, if you start executing your program, it will reallocate the space. Say for example, I have done this program in my laptop. After that, I never use for 1 month or 2 months. Later, after 2 months, again I'm going to execute this program. So I need to reallocate space for it. In C and C++, reallocation will take place, allocation will take place, but not the delete. Delete has to be done manually. Whereas in Java, it is not the scenario. The garbage collector is going to work such a way that the moment you complete the execution of the program, it will cease whether the object required the memory or not. If it is required, it will keep the memory. If it is not required, it will deallocate the memory for it. The moment you re-execute it, it will reallocate the memory. So since you are no longer using that particular object, memory is not going to be wasted. So that is the reason Java programs are faster than the C and C++ programs. Java programs are faster than the C and C++ programs. So basically what I mean to say here is the moment you declare the object, the moment you declare the variables, memory space will be allocated. And once you use them, it needs to be free. Again, when you want them, we need to reallocate the space. So this will be automized in Java by using the concept called garbage collectors. So these garbage collectors is going to free that memory from the program, and then it will say that, hey, your space is deallocated. You can use it for some other purpose. So who is going to do this entire process? It is from the compiler. How the compiler will come to know? We already written a garbage collector program in our Java, we have already that. So we are going to see that later. Now, So we also have a method called finalize method, right? We also have a method called finalize method. So what is this finalize method will do? See, let us assume compiler has deallocated memory for the object. Deallocated memory for the object. Later object found that I need to do some more process. I need to do some more process. Then what is going to happen? Then what is going to happen? See, I just automatically compiler will deallocate the space. But again, object thinks that I need to do some other process, right? You can see the example. If an object is holding some non-Java resources like file handling, character fonts, font styling, all those things. So what you need to do after the object get freed, then we need to do it. After that, we need to destroy the object. Now what is going to happen is this finalize method will help us. The finalize method will help us to do that kind of activities. To do that kind of activities. So what does it mean? If you define a method called finalize, if you want to specify some particular tasks, you can perform those tasks after the garbage collection. After the garbage collection, periodically, it will check whether objects are no longer required or not. If there is any process you need to take care, then you can mention in the finalize method. So the moment you mention in the finalize method, then the compiler will understand that, okay, this object is not required, but still they need to do some process. Let them finish that process, then I'll deallocate the memory. Then I'll deallocate the memory. That means once the object will get destroyed, once the compiler feels that I need to destroy the object, so later if you mention the finalize method, it will execute the finalize method, then it will destroy the object. So the finalize method is going to be a protected member of that particular class. So when we need to call this finalize method, you need to call before the garbage collection. That means within the program only you need to call. You cannot call outside the program. Within the program only you will need to call the garbage collection, right? So suppose if you don't know garbage collection, I mean you don't know whether you need to use finalize method or not, then what is going to happen? The compiler will run the automatically one finalize method. The compiler will run one finalize method, then it will release the resources. So let me show an example for your better understanding. Yeah, see, you can see here. So I'm calling one finalize method here. What I'm doing here is I'm taking one object. I'm creating an object called obj for this class. For this class called Java finalize example 1, I'm creating an object called obj. Now I'm printing the obj hash code. Some hash code I'm printing. What is the hash code? How the hash code will be? All those things you will study in your computer organization. I don't want to give any explanation here. It will take 1 hour. So hash code, some hash code we are printing. Then I'm assigning object value to null, right? So the moment it will complete, the compiler will understand that, okay, program is completed. It will call the GC function, that is garbage collector. GC function, and just for our reference, I'm writing print statement. Just for our reference, we are writing this print statement. So before calling this GC function, it will also call the finalize method. It will check, is there any finalized process I need to perform? Then it will perform it. Then it will print the garbage collection. I mean, it will end the garbage collection. Now, if you execute this program, what is going to happen? So it is executed. It has written some hash code for this. Then it will call the garbage collector. Meanwhile, it will go to finalize method. So it will check whether it is there any process pending. Then it will print the end of garbage collection. Finalize method called. So once the garbage collection is done, it is going to call the finalize method to check is there any process pending. If it is pending, it will execute that process. If not, it will completely deallocate the resources. Right? So don't get confused here. It will be little confused. What is finalize? What is garbage? See, garbage collector is nothing but automatically Java compiler is going to release the resources. So the moment the program get ended, the compiler will check whether we need to sorry, whether we need to allocate the space or deallocate the space, all those things. So once it is done, it is going to call a method called finalize. It is going to call a method called finalize. The finalize method is going to check, is there any process still pending from the program side? If there is any pending, it will execute it. If there is no pending, then it will kill the process. So there is a question. If we assign a value to another, the first object will be unused. So that it will also be compiled by garbage. Yes. Yes. So compile. See, what will happen is, when I say garbage collector freeing the memory, it doesn't mean that it is going to delete the program. It won't delete the program. It will just free the space. It just frees the space. Once if we required it, again you execute it, again it will allocate the space, right? So yes, Tina, for your question, answer is yes. So the first object will be unused, means it will free the space for that for a time. After that, if you use that object again, first object, again it will reallocate the space. So basically, in order to perform memory allocation and deallocation, we are going to use the garbage collection functions, right? So is it clear to everyone what is finalized, what is garbage? If it is clear, raise your hand. If there is any question, put in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer. All right. So most of you understood. Still, there will be a little bit questions, as I said in the last class also. The moment you start reading, you come to know about it. You can clear all those things, right? Right. So let me go to the next topic. Just give me a minute. All right. So some question is there. Okay, done. Sir, in the program we call the garbage function, or is it done? No. You don't. No need to call the garbage function. Just for our understanding, I'm showing one example. As manual process, you don't need to call garbage collector. You don't need to call finalize method. We'll never do it. See, manually you can do it if it is really required. If it is really required, you can do it. Otherwise, you don't need to call it. Automatically, it will be taken care by the compiler, Java compiler. Right? Hope I answered your question. Just for our understanding, I'm showing. See, either constructors or garbage collectors, finalize methods, there you no need to call them manually. You no need to call them manually. So they will be taken care automatically by the compiler. Okay, they will be taken care by the automatically by the compiler. So what you need to do is you continue with your program. Why we are telling all these things? Because tomorrow if you become compiler programmer, where you need to do the compiler programming, or you need to define new language, you need to build a new language, there you need to understand all these things, right? So let me go next example I have shown, right? So let us go and see in depth about the methods. See, as in C++, here also in Java we are going to we can perform overloading of the methods. We can perform overloading of the methods, right? So when you can define one or two more methods, not two, one or more methods with the same name. So the concept of method overloading is called as polymorphism, right? So as in C++, Java also invoked based on the number of arguments which we are going to use. If you remember, in IA also you have written area is the function or area is the method, where based on the number of parameters which particular function or method we need to invoke, we will invoke it. In Java also, so based on number of parameters, we are going to invoke the method, right? So if suppose if there is any return value, we will take the return value. If there is no return value, we won't take the return values. So that means, so based on number of methods, we are going to use the methods, right? Java method overriding. So textbook examples I'll show you later. First you understand the concept, later I'll show you the textbook examples. Okay. Yeah, you can see here. So let me just test it. So class adder, class name is adder. I'm calling two methods called add of add. So both are of same name. You can see here add and add. But here we have two parameters, int a comma b. Here we have int a comma b comma c. So it is going to calculate the value of a plus b. It is going to calculate the a plus b plus c. I'm going to class called one more class, that is the main function. So within this, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass this parameters. Pass this parameter for this adder class. So if it is two variables, then it will execute this method. If it is three variables, it will execute this method. So that means based on the number of parameters, we are going to execute which method we need to execute. Say for example, if I compile and run this, obviously I'll get some output. Now what I will do is I'll just add one more variable here, one more value here. Now I'll execute it. What will happen? We'll see. So what happened? What happened? Why we didn't get the output? Again, I'll run it. We'll get output. Right. So what is the output we are getting? So this 33 we are getting. This is 22 plus 23. So almost like 45. So that means this particular method is not at all called. So that means based on the number of variables which we are passing, it is going to take. Now what I will do is I'll remove one more variable. Let me check what is going to happen. What is the error it is showing? So let me delete. Right. So what is happening here? So that means we have two variable, three variable. We don't have a single variable. That's why it is showing an error saying that, hey, we cannot print like this, right? So that means whenever you are calling a method, whenever you are executing the method overloading, method overriding, there you need to be very careful about the, I'm talking about overloading only. Method overloading, you should be very careful about the number of parameters you are passing. So based on the number of parameters only, it is going to execute the program. Otherwise, compiler really does not understand what you are doing, right? So compiler will work based on the number of variables. So this concept is called as polymorphism. So they have taken one test example. I have shown you add example. So based on number of parameters, we are going to use the particular method or function. I won't use my function. We need to use it as method. Particular method we are going to call it. Right now, see in when we are doing the overloading of the function, right? Sometimes what will happen? We are going to have some little change in the names instead of like add 1, add 2, add 3, all those things, right? So now what is going to happen is there is a possibility that we cannot call them as a overloading function. Obviously, they are not overloading functions because they are with the different names, slightly different names. So still they are performing the same task. So that kind of scenario may come in Java also. But in C programming, what is going to happen is basically there is no concept of method overloading, but you can perform it using some little modifications. Like one function you can give it as labs, fabs, right? So that means method overloading is not there in C for sure. In interview also, if they ask, is there any method overloading in C? No, we don't have. Just for your reference, what we are telling is, in order to implement this method overloading, we'll use little bit of change in the names, apps, labs, fabs. Now what is going to happen? So we are understanding that all these three function belongs to same kind of category, which we can use it for the further purpose, right? So I'm not going to go much about it. So you can see, we can come back and we'll see here. See this theory and all just for your reference to prepare for your exams, as I said last time. I am discussing whichever is required. Now, so constructor overloading. What is constructor overloading? As we know, class name is box, constructor name is also going to be box. Now what we are going to do here is we are going to call a function called box. This is a constructor box where we are going to pass some variable, some values. So that means when you are designing or when you are building a constructor, you can pass the parameters of the class as a variables to the constructor, right? So that is what we are telling here. In the box constructor, it requires 3 parameters. That means all the declarations of box object must be passed 3 arguments. So whenever you are going to call them new box, there should be 3 objects, or sorry, 3 parameters. Otherwise, you will get the error. If you are passing only 2 variables in the object, you will get the error. If you are passing 1 also, you will get the error. So you should pass 3 variables. If you can see here, if you create an object like this, box ob equals to new box of. If you create an object like this, then you will get the error because the constructor is having 3 variables. So you need to pass that 3 variables here, because this box is class name. As I said, this box is the constructor name, but here in the constructor we have 3 variables. You need to pass all 3 variables, otherwise you will get the error. So what you need to understand here is, whenever you are defining some objects, you should also worry about the constructors, whether I need to pass the constructor variables or not. If there is no variables, you don't worry about it. Directly you can execute the program. Right? So see, these are the concepts already we studied in C++. Now I am showing in Java. That's it. Next is objects as a parameters. So you can see here. So we are creating one object called ob1, ob2, ob3 with respect to class called test. So test is going to have 2 variables as a constructor, I and j. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pass some values for this. All 3 objects getting passed with some values. So these object values will be allocated to this, and then it will execute the output. So while doing this, what we are doing, we are calling one more function called equals test o. So that means the object value will be taken as a reference. So when it comes to ob1, so it is going to check. Right. So it is going to check whether ob1 dot, that is oa dot a equals to ob dot b return true, else return false. So what is going to happen now? So it is going to call this print function ob1 dot ob2. So it is going to take these 2 values. It is going to check whether they are equal. If they are equal, it will be true. If it is not equal, then it will be false. So it will check with 3 objects. So don't worry about it. Next class, I'll show you with example how it is going to work. So let you understand up to this. What is constructor overloading constructors? What is the method overloading, and also the garbage collection and finalize method. So this example I'll explain you again in the next class. This one. You'll get confused with constructor and objects. Right. So as I said in the last class, so I'm just going to stop here 1 minute. So as I said in the last class, you are going to have the quiz for every class. Now I'm going to share the quiz. Just give me a minute. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat box. So give me a minute. I'm going to share the quiz. Everyone need to answer that quiz. Marks will be there for that quiz also. So it will take 2 minutes to assign you. Yeah. All right. So the time for completion of this quiz is up to 11:59. 11:55. Sorry, our class is 55. You have 10 minutes time. So all of you, it is a 5 marks quiz. You need to answer this quiz now. So I'm just assigning it. Oh my goodness, just a minute. Yes. Check whether you got the quiz. All of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You attend the quiz, turn in. Otherwise, it won't consider. You can check the marks also. How many marks you got. There are 5 questions you need to answer. Anybody is facing issue with the quiz, let me know. Anybody turned in? See, today is the first quiz. I am giving 10 minutes. Tomorrow onwards, it will be 5 minutes. 5 questions, 5 minutes. Chetan Ranganath turned in. Likita. See, once you view, once you submit, turn in. Click on turn in. Why Chetan Ranganath, you not attended first IA? Not able to answer one question also. Same thing with Likita KM. Simple questions I asked. Others turn in. How much time you required? 5 questions.
Sir, can we leave if we are done?
You are done?
Yes, sir.
Just let me check 1 second. I'll just refresh and check. I'll just check. It is taking some time to load it.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Would you be able to see the results once you submit, Abhishek?
Yes, sir. I saw the results.
Okay. Because this is the first time I am also creating quiz in Teams, so that's the reason I'm discussing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. It is taking some time for me, no problem. So you can finish the quiz and you can continue with your next